Good morning. Frankie says good morning too, don't you, Frankie? He's hiding out and watching. Oh my gosh, how are y'all doing? Don't forget to say hello and drop me a line on how you're doing. All right. So, for the first time since I've had this channel, have I actually made several videos and deleted them. I hardly ever do that. I usually just leave spontaneous messages and post them. I don't even re-listen to them. If you're moving those, stop. Don't. You're sitting right on my pillows. Don't. Ugh. Frankie. Honey, I'm not mad. I just want you to move off my pillows. Oh, you're right. Never mind. I'll just change the bed later. He's stubborn. You know, he's only like 50 pounds, but when he digs in and does that dead weight thing he does, it's almost like he purposely is able to increase his weight. Little bugger head. Anyway, so I don't know if you've watched my last video or two, but I've been going through a lot of stuff here at the house with some water damage and it's torn the whole house up, and I like everything pretty organized. Otherwise, I'm just not comfortable. So, even as I age, I learn more about myself. It's not like I got to a certain age. This is just castor oil. You get to a certain age and you think we know it all. We'd be smooth sailing. And that's one of the things that I think deleting those videos was about, is that I just didn't feel comfortable in how I was processing that. And even though I was trying to link it to how I could be helpful to anyone who sees these videos and how I was handling things, I just didn't feel like my thoughts, discombobulated is the best I can say. And you know, I'm usually discombobulated anyway. I can't finish one whole story. I'll jump around and finally come to an end that seems to make sense in my head. But it didn't quite work out the way I felt comfortable. So I deleted them. I'm gonna tell you kind of what I came up with. There are people who pretty much get so set in their ways that even if they're uncomfortable, they keep doing the same thing over and over again because it feels almost like we have the right to behave or feel a certain way, which we do. But it can also make us almost self-righteous in how we handle things, instead of let it be a process of perhaps learning more about ourselves and handling things in maybe an improved way. a more productive way. And also, it's about being able to process our feelings, getting to know ourselves, like, how am I really handling this? What are my true feelings? On the internet, there's a feelings wheel. And the one I like, that I get my clients to look up, is colored, and it's kind of like a pie. And it really can help people go from anger, frustration, and then look at different ways, different feeling words. Because a lot of the times we're frustrated, but we don't really know why. We don't really know the deeper levels of what's going on. And when I'm upset about something, when I'm frustrated about something, a lot of the times it has to do with hopes, dreams, expectations. There's a very personal, that meaning I may get upset about something and it may look the same, kind of look the same as what someone else might feel, but it's really not. It's really not the same. Very often, if we really take a deeper look, it has to do with things that maybe we didn't work through as a kid. When we have hopes and dreams lost, we can very often confuse what we're going through with the current event. But it looks and feels so much like something we went through as a child. It feels like it, looks like it, smells like it, back here in our deep brain, our reptile brain, our limbic system. So the reaction, we're seeing, smelling, hearing things, and it comes in a neural pathway that's slick, like hot oil on a playground slide, and it goes right into the limbic system, and then we pull out, or then we lash out, have some kind of emotive experience. It's very interesting, really. So when we look at that, especially when I look at people saying they're going to do something and then not do it, that's one of the things that goes straight back into the back of my head, that leads to a deep disappointment that can come out like frustration, anger, being over emotive, crying at some point. And I'm not saying that it has to look like a big old temper tantrum. It's more the feelings associated with it than a big temper tantrum. Either way, it's a block to being able to process it all in the front of the brain, because it's so tender in the back. It's on fire, so to speak. So it takes some time to actually be able to think it through, to actually process what's going on in little bits and pieces, or how it's happening. Instead, it's just like, it's almost like this automatic reaction. And it looks like we're behaving on purpose. It feels like we're having a genuine, passionate reaction. And really, it's almost like playing the old 45 over and over and over again. And it can also get caught in a loop. It's almost like getting caught in a pothole. You've heard of people who really damage their cars going down a street where there's a bad pothole. Well, some cars, old cars, will just get stuck in that pothole and they're spinning their wheels. And that's where something very interesting can happen. It's where sometimes, and this is where an antidepressant, anti-anxiety pill can sometimes come in handy. It's when, when we get stuck there, one of the things we might want to do is slow down and breathe, but it's really the last thing we want to do because we're wound up. But if we slow down, we'll recognize where we're having an overreaction to something that just doesn't warrant it. When we attach current feelings to old feelings, from childhood, that disappointment, that sad, sad disappointment, we're living in the past and we're not able to see what we can do in the present that's going to be more constructive. It's been a real learning experience for me here recently. And as life would have it, my life is so interesting when it comes to work. This has happened almost, let me back up a tiny bit. I was taking a class once on spiritual growth as a therapist. It was years ago, out in Portland or Washington State. I had some good classes out there. And what happens was that I got caught up in the loop of I had such good success with clients. And so really my idea of success was being the best therapist, because I knew what it was like to not have good therapy. I knew what it was like to have someone fall for my cuteness or my seductiveness or my sense of humor, or my sad story. And so I would get lots of breaks from therapists that I didn't need. I just did not need that kind of leadership. So the leader of the class, the main instructor, taught us, was it Socrates, or it was one of the more famous philosophers, who said what the world needs, let's see, how does it go? The world doesn't need perfect people. The world needs people who are alive. And I just thought that was really meaningful to me at the time. I'm not saying it perfectly. I wish I could remember just how that went. Dang it. I'd have to Google it, and I don't have time. I've got so much to do today. It's a day, I'm taking the day off work, but I have tons to do. I have to get out and do some things, or else. And I'm finally feeling like I can do that. I've had all my feelings, and ready to start participating in the world again. when I've always been a hairy person. Not thick hair, but just constant hair. Constant. It just doesn't stop. So anyway, so one of the most interesting things that happens is when we get caught in that pothole, sometimes we have to do something to jerk ourselves out. We either have someone pull us out, which is wonderful if you have someone in your life that can do that, that you trust enough to help you do that. Not everybody, because you'll hear yourself say, quit trying to help me, or quit trying to get me to not be upset. I have every right to be upset. But with practice, you can say, okay, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening. And if you don't have someone in your life to be able to do that, you have to do it for yourself. And it takes a lot of grit to be able to tell yourself, I've had enough of this. I need something else. I just can't keep doing this. It feels, when we're caught in that pothole back here, it's not like we just get angry and lash out. It's like we get caught in a pothole and it's just anxiety. And it feels like we're on go more intensely than normal. And we're just not able to stop almost like a vibration. People are caught anxiety, and that's exactly what those brain drugs make us feel like. It runs all through our body. So if you think of it like a pothole, how do you get out of it? You either have to stop and then rev yourself out, or if you have a four-wheeler, engage the other wheels to get yourself out, or you have to be pulled out. If you don't have someone to pull you out, you have to think, what is it that will get my attention to get me to change focus away from my grief, away from my sadness or frustration or disappointment, any of those feeling words. What is it that will grab my attention to get me out of it? And sometimes, for me on a daily basis, I have certain things that I do to keep my anxiety low. Like my work, believe it or not, most of the time, not all the time. COVID had me pretty worked up because so many therapists quit. But when something with the family happens, something with my home happens, that's where I usually have such a relatively safe home environment because I'm in such a routine. It feels safe. So when that gets disrupted with family ordeals, or like this construction that's upset the home, and it's still going to be weeks while they get everything, all the bids figured out, find the appropriate workmen, and negotiating with the insurance company, all that stuff. And so as I process how that is supposed to be normal, it doesn't feel normal to me. So it's almost like I'm being told, hurry up and wait, or whatever it is that you're being told. It's about, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? So for me, it's digging in the dirt, going outside, planting more of a garden area, because what I have now is pretty stable. I can't really do a whole lot more with it until I get rid of some more grass and start a different plot. So I'm kind of brainstorming that. Cleaning will also do it. Rearranging my cupboards will do it. Going for a long, hard walk. Playing with the dogs out on the field. I have to get myself to stop. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, thought, change thought. So that I can give my brain a chance to get out of that pothole. It has to be long and hard enough, I guess you could say, to stop those brain chemicals from going into the pothole and feeding it and feeding it and feeding it. That's what's important, is that it's like throwing a wrench in the cobs kind of thing. You just can't keep feeding the beast and expect it to not get fatter, not get bigger. There has to be a way to get it to settle down, and the only way to settle it down is to change the force of the brain chemicals. Have to force those brain chemicals to do something different, and it has to be long enough. It can't just be a little bit. I know that there are certain things we can do just a little bit on a normal day, on an almost normal day. But when we're really worried, really frantic, really sad, really disappointed, it's the really part that's important. If we're really upset, little things aren't gonna make a big difference. We have to be able to do something substantial. There are a lot of people, whether it's heartache, mourning, sadness, it's funny. It's not all in our mind. Sometimes there's real events, but at the bottom line, it is all in our minds. I was watching the Milani interview last night, and that sweet interviewer was talking. They were talking about Milani's mother, and then this girl, the interviewer, what was her name? Anais? I can't remember. But she just seemed so sweet and vulnerable and genuine. And she was sharing something about some grief she's had. And it choked me up for her. And a lot of us know what it's like to grieve someone. Excuse me. And when we do that, sometimes we can get caught. That's where some people get caught, in that pothole. And people say, well, you don't understand my grief. Well, I do understand. And here's the reality of it is everyone is going to die. But in our society, excuse me, we act like that's not supposed to happen. So what the truth is, some of the truth, is that we love that person so much that we're going to miss them so much. And instead of just saying that, or saying, gosh, I was so lucky to have this wonderful person in my life. I'm luckier than most people. And I'm going to really miss that, because now I don't know what I'm going to do when I have a problem and don't have them to talk to, because I can't remember some of the advice they've given me. Instead, we're pouting. We're so sad. Now, I'm not trying to tell anyone they can't be that sad, but I'm telling you, coming from someone who's had a lot of mourning and a lot of grief in their life, the one thing that has helped me heal, and I know the interviewer asked Milani, how can you give us some tips on how to heal? And Melania didn't answer the question in a way that she just went on to say how wonderful her mother was. But I think what she might have been trying to say is, I have these fond memories, and I'm so grateful that I had her for that time, that it takes the power away from feeling ripped off. Because certainly if it was that great of a relationship, or that terrible of a relationship, and you didn't have a chance to heal bonds or whatever, that means it's our work to do as a human being, of facing that we're grateful, or facing that we had some anger that we didn't want to get rid of yet, but now we do. Things like that. Does that kind of make sense? But it sounds like she and her mother had a wonderful relationship, and she was a wonderful grandmother. Not everyone's lucky enough to have that. So it's about being able to rejoice and be grateful, allowing yourself to be sad that now you don't have it. And we all know situations, whether it's having and losing all of our money, having or losing someone special to us, never having and losing the white picket fence before we ever get it. A lot of relationships break up before we, excuse me, or someone passes before we've actually really gotten to spoil ourselves in that love and affection. I think that's all I'm going to do with that. Excuse me. I took a sinus pill, but it's not kicking in yet, evidently. So I've been remembering that. I know as well, I've had some clients who've had health issues where they've had some scares with some medical tests, and then thank goodness, so far everyone's ended up, it was a glitch. I've done that many times, but it can be very scary because people say, I haven't even lived my life yet. Well, that's interesting. Then now that nothing's wrong, or even if something was wrong, how are you going to live your life so that you can enjoy it without feeling like you've had this lifetime and it's been wasted? Nobody. That would be such a shame, to live a life that you feel has been wasted. I love the smell of rose water. So anyway, that's what I've been going through, and that's what a lot of clients go through. So once I worked long and hard enough around the house, around the yard, with my dogs, I feel like I'm starting to get my rhythm back. I don't feel like I'm stuck in a pothole anymore, thank goodness. That was kind of hard. So if you're caught in a pothole, or think back of when you were kind of stuck in something, think about, what was it that worked? What was it that didn't work? So you can be ready for when it happens again. The reason why I don't think it takes me as long to work through my stuff is because I've been practicing it for so long. And even if there's something that I hadn't done yet, I'm willing to experiment. I don't want to sit in it forever. Sometimes it does. Sit in it for a day or two, or a week or two, or a month or two, as long as you can stand it. But sooner or later, we have to change that dirty diaper. It starts smelling, and the people around us aren't in love with it. I think we should be allowed to have genuine emotions that just, so we can get to know ourselves. If we fight it and fight it and fight it, we don't get to know ourselves. But then it's getting to know where our grit is, getting to know where our desire to have a good life is. When we lose someone, it doesn't mean our life is over, right? I've lost lots of people. I haven't been able to have lots of people that most people have in their life, just because I'm sort of an adult orphan. I just have not had close family ties. It just wasn't in the genes of the family members that I grew up with. So sad as that is, I'm not going to be mad at life forever. And if I lose someone, when I lose someone now, when I was younger, if it was a friend or anything, I didn't let go of anything without claw marks, maybe even making a scene, over it. Breakups were bad if I were highly invested. Deep depressions. Until I realized, wait a minute, I don't really want to commit suicide. I don't really want to be a walking dead person who's not dead. I don't want to do that. I want to live. So how am I going to do that? I can be so content and grateful for the good times that I've had. I don't have to be resentful or mad about the sad times I've had. I can take this life and make the very, very best out of it I can until the last day on this planet. Now, that's a dramatic package right there. But I can also do it with just mildly frustrating days. Days that don't go right back to the amygdala or right into a pothole sitting right on top of the amygdala or limbic system and all that firing, right? I can take that information from the dramatic side and then also incorporate it on the feelings wheel where I'm just frustrated or sad or disappointed or whatever, that aren't grief and mourning and rage, right? And I can take it just to have a sweeter life more often, as quickly as possible, so that I'm ready and sane for the deep stuff. I know a lot of people who rest on their laurels when it comes to their spiritual condition. And they think, this is good. I'm good. I don't have to learn anymore. I don't have to work hard anymore. I'm really good where I'm at. But if you don't keep an open mind, how would you know what the next level might be? I have been so blessed with being able to practice mindfulness in a way that I can be almost anywhere, going through almost anything. And if I don't have someone to pull me out, I still have this, like, it's almost like I can visualize a life preserver jacket there. I know it's sitting there ready for me to grab it when I'm ready, when I'm going to quit fighting the waves. Just take a breath, grab it, and then it's got a list on both sides of things I can do or be grateful for to help me switch out. Is it easy and smooth? No. Not normally. But every once in a while, a light bulb comes on quicker. Speaking of light bulbs, I gotta get going. Hey, I love y'all. I hope you have a great day. And if it's not a great day, have a day of your own on purpose. No matter what's going on around you, have your day on purpose. One foot in front of the other, making conscious decisions on how you're handling things. That's important. Don't go through life with blinders on or shit-colored glasses on and pretend you're a victim, right? Because I can do that for a little while, and then I don't like being a victim. I'm going to do the next right thing for me, and that might be helping someone else do the next right thing for them. Whatever it is that works for you, figure that out so you have it written on your life preserver jacket, your instructions. So when you put it on, you're going to look right there and see it. I don't know. That's all I got for now. I gotta run. Darn it. Hey, I love you, and I'm so grateful for you, and looking forward to hearing from you. Mwah. Bye for now.